On to third place, I have the Dallas Cowboys here. I think they will finish 4-13. Obviously, I had to redo this one just because there's a breaking news. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So this team is quietly entering the rebuilding phase, in my opinion. You know, it's crazy to think just like a couple of years ago, you know, they were in the playoff, you know, going up against the Packers, and they were a huge favorite to win that game. I've heard so many Cowboys fans saying, you know, this is our year, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. And you know what happened? I mean, they ended up losing that game to the Packers, and that was a blowout, essentially. You know, and Jerry Jones said that game still haunted him, you know, till this day. Fast forward this year, they're getting Dak Prescott back from the injury, you know, along with adding George Pickens to the wide receiver room in the offseason. Questions will always be their defense though, especially their run defense. They were ranked the worst last year, and it showed, you know, on the field and, you know, on their records. Adding Solomon Thomas and trading for Kenneth Murray is a solid move, but they will need to prove it first, you know, in a very tough division. So the elephant in the room here is Micah Parsons. You know, just got the news that they've traded Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers for Kenny Clark and 2 first rounds. This was a disaster for the Cowboys, you know, just this whole drama with Jerry Jones and, you know, with Micah's agent. They've waited and waited until the last minute to do this deal, you know, thinking that they have the upper hand. You know, but in fact, like, no, this is, you know, this was another miscalculated move by Jerry Jones, you know, thinking that he's still in the 1990s, you know, negotiating deals with the players. It just doesn't work that way anymore. To be honest, he needs to step down from the general manager positions and let someone who's younger and with experience to take over. This was honestly a last-minute desperate deal for the Cowboys. I feel like they could have got 3 first-round picks, you know, if they could have traded Micah's, you know, 5 months ago. And what were they thinking, you know, by trading him to the same conference team in the NFC? And the Packers? Like the one team that destroyed their hopes and dreams, you know, years after years in the playoffs. Like, it's just ridiculous, you know, and you know, I'll just leave it at that, guys. I would have had them, you know, winning 6 games this year, but you know, after the trade, I feel like they will only be winning, you know, just 4 games this year. So just a bad day for the Cowboys fans.